Hi guys, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making one of the nation's favourite, a Ruby Murray. But to be more precise, I'm going to be doing a Chicken Tikka Masala. Now this is a recipe that I found on the internet, but I've adjusted to make my own, so I've tweaked it a little bit here and there, added some ingredients that weren't on there already. It's quite nice, so let's get started. So for this ingredient, we're going to be using, this is a Chicken Tikka Marinade, which I got from Amazon. Comes in sachets. I'm going to use one sachet of that. So we're going to marinate the chicken, diced chicken with that. That wasn't on the recipe originally, so I've added that. And we're going to be using some mango chutney. That'll be going in. I've got a tub of tikka paste. So that will be going in. That's tikka paste. We're going to be using some tomato puree. And we're going to be using the usual, a tin of chopped tomatoes. I'm going to run them through the blender to get rid of the chunks of tomato. We're going to be using one red pepper, which I'm going to dice and chop really finely. I'll go through that with you. We're going to be having using a little touch of butter, so about a tablespoon or a knob of butter. Some olive oil, finally got some. One onion, which we're going to chop really finely. And I've got two nice chicken breasts there, which I'm going to dice into chunks. So I'll put them there. We're going to be using some natural yoghurt, some double cream, and that's all for the Chicken Tikka Masala. So I've also got some basmati rice, which we're going to be using. That's gluten free, because the missus can only have the gluten free rice, so we're going to be using that. And I've bought a couple of poppadoms to go with it, and sorry, naan breads. And I bought some poppadoms as well. So that's going to be today's dinner. So we're going to start by marinating the chicken. Okay, so let's get started. So the first we're going to need to do is to cut these chicken breasts into chunks, about 2.5 centimetres or something like that. So I'm going to be using this knife to do that. Okay, so I'm going to start by making some cuts. Something like that, and then same again down here, and the same again here. So you've got some good thick strips like that, and then just cut your chunks like that. So and about that big, 2.5–3 centimetres, something like that, depending to your own liking really. So I'll just get these done. That one done, I'm just going to start the other one. Put them into the bowl. Same again. So, once you've diced your chicken, add them all into the bowl. So there's your diced chicken. And what I'm going to do is, I've got one sachet of Tikka Masala Marinade. I'm going to sprinkle that all over the diced chicken. Now this is the bit that I've added, a couple of other little bits and pieces I've added as well to make the recipe my own and make it a bit nicer, to be honest. So I'll just sprinkle it all in there like that, and then give it a good toss in, like that. I'm going to cover all the chicken, make sure it's all covered nicely with that marinade. Add a bit more if you need to. coating nicely now, that. I'm just going to add a bit more. Now we're going to put this in the fridge and let it marinate for a couple of hours. Make sure it's all well coated. Smells nice. Real nice smell on that. So that's the marinade. So that's going to go in the fridge now for a couple of hours, and then we'll move on to the next part of making the meal. Okay, so let's start with the preparation. So the first thing I'm going to do is to finely dice my onion. So I'm going to slice it straight down the middle there. Now what you want to do is you want to leave the end with the roots on. So make sure you leave that end on with the roots. You don't want to cut that. Okay, so I'm going to leave that on there. So you cut this side end off first here, like that, and the same with the other one. And then just take your peeling off. Okay, so once you've got it peeled, going to make some slits down the edge, but don't go right to the end. Don't go right up to the root, because you want the root to hold the onion together while you slice it and chop it. So I've made my slices there. I'm just going to do the other one. Once you've made your slits down there, just cut it about halfway up, like that, but not right to the end of the root. So cut it about there. So again, stop just before you get to the roots, because you don't want to cut that root, and then just finally chop it. So that's that one done. I'm just going to do this one, the next one. So that is the onion prepared. That's for nice and finely chopped. So I'm going to put that into a bowl, and then the next thing I want to do is to prepare the red peppers, or the red pepper. So I want to finely chop the red pepper. So I'm going to stick this into a bowl. Okay, so to do the pepper, I am going to pull off the stalk, like that, and I'm going to slice it right down the middle, and slice it down the middle again. And you need to get rid of all them seeds inside it. Okay, so that's it. What we're going to do is pull away the stalk, like that, on all of them. Pull the stalk away. And then rinse the peppers themselves under the cold water tap to get rid of all the seeds that are inside it. So I'm going to do that and then come back to you. Okay, so that's the peppers all cleaned up, all the seeds and everything gone from there. What I'm going to do is to finally chop these, and the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to be using my new toy, which is this. It's a parsley chopper. Now if you've not got one of these, all you need to do is just keep chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping until you get it nice and fine. So I'm just going to roughly chop these. Okay, so that's roughly chopped, and then if, like I say, if you've not got your parsley chopper, just keep chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping until you get it nice and fine. So I'm going to open up my chopper, and I'm just going to go over it a few times. This is a new toy that I got the other day. Now when I used to work at the Leigh Arms and Black Boy restaurant in Presby Village, they used to have a big professional one. It was about that big, a lot bigger, had 4 blades on it, and just a lot easier to do and a lot faster as well. So you chop your parsley nice and fine with these. So I'm just going to roughly chop this, I'll come back to you in a minute. Right, I'm happy with that. Now that's nice and finely chopped. So that's pretty much all the preparation done. So the next stage now is to cook the meal itself. And that's the red peppers chopped. So that's what you want to be looking for, nice and finely chopped. I'm going to put them into a dish now, and then we'll start the cooking process. Okay, so we're going to start by adding in a teaspoon of olive oil into a wok. Now this recipe is going to feed 2 people. If you want the recipe any bigger or for more people, then just increase the recipe ingredients really. So I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And I'm going to use a good knob of butter. Okay. And I'm going to heat these up. Then we're going to add the onions and cook them for about until they go nice and soft. So we're looking at about a tablespoonful of butter, or a good knob if you like, good knob of butter. Add that in there. And then add the onions, and we're going to fry these for about 10-15 minutes or until they're nice and soft and just starting to turn golden. So we're going to add them in there. I'm also going to add a sprinkle of salt from a great height and a good helping of black pepper. And now we're going to start to cook them. So I've got my hob on full heat. Okay. So I'm going to cook these now until they're nice and soft and golden, just starting to turn golden. I love the smell of cooking onions. Can't beat it. Fairgrounds, hot dog stands, beautiful. Okay, so they're just starting to soften up now. So next what we're going to do is we're going to add the tikka masala paste and then and the peppers, and we're going to cook it again for a few more minutes. So I'm going to add in the peppers and the tikka masala paste. And this is Patak's tikka masala paste. I got it from Tesco. Now really give that all a good mixing into, infuse all them spices, when you get it all mixed in, really infuse all them spices all together. Smell beautiful. Smells like a curry already. So now we're going to just turn it off the heat just for a second. I'm going to get the diced chicken that I prepared earlier on. Okay, so now we're going to add the chicken and cook it for a little bit longer and get it all mixed in. So now I'm going to be adding my tomatoes, but what I want to do is I want to run these through the blender about 3 pulses just to get rid of the chunks of tomato. I want it more like a sauce and chopped tomatoes. So I'm just going to give it 3 whizzes. So that's that done. In my jug I've got 200 millilitres of water, and we're going to be adding 2 tablespoons of tomato puree. So that's all going to go in there now. Okay, so we're going to start with the tomatoes. And then, tomatoes done, I'm going to turn the heat down to about half for now. Mix all that in. Like that. Then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of tomato puree. And then in goes the 200 millilitres of water. We're going to mix all that up now, and then we're going to let that cook and simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. And then we'll come on to the next stage. So the next stage we'll be adding the mango chutney and the yoghurt and the cream. So what I'm going to do to prepare for that, in this jug I'm going to measure 75 millilitres of cream and 75 millilitres of yoghurt to make it up to 150 millilitres. Okay, so that'll be going in about 10 minutes time. So I'm going to simmer this now for about 15 minutes with the lid on to make sure the chicken cooks all the way through. Then we'll be adding the yoghurt and the cream and the mango chutney, mixing that in, and let it finish cooking. So I was going to cover this with a lid, simmer it for about 15 minutes, and then I'll come back. Okay, so this has been bubbling nicely for 15 minutes. So what we need to do now, cancel that for a start off, is we're going to add our mango. So I'm going to put in turn that down to simmer. I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of mango chutney into there. So about 1.5 tablespoons. And in my jug I've added together 75 millilitres of full double cream and 75 millilitres natural yoghurt. So we're going to add that into there now. Now when I added these into the jug and mixed it, give it a good stirring, so I mixed it all well together. And now we're going to just add that into there. Give it a really nice mixing up, get it all mixed in. And we're just going to let that simmer gently, about another 5 minutes or so. I want to thicken it up slightly with a bit of corn flour, which we'll do next. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add 1 heaped teaspoon of corn flour, a really nice heaped teaspoon, like that, into a cup. And you want to turn the tap on, the cold tap on really slowly, and put a tiny little bit of water into this and mix it into a paste. Now you don't want too much, you see that? Now you mix that into a paste. And then you add that to your curry and that'll thicken it up. And leave it simmering for about another 5 more minutes. And that is pretty much the curry done. So the next thing to do would be to cook the rice. and the poppadoms, sorry, the garlic naan bread, and plate it all up. So I'll just let that cook for about 5 minutes to thicken up, let the corn flour thicken it up, and that'll be pretty much ready. Now make sure your chicken's well cooked, take a piece out, cut it in half, make sure that it's white inside and there's no pink showing, and that'll be it then, that'll be cooked. If you've seen any pink, just let it cook for a little bit longer, make sure that chicken's thoroughly cooked. Okay. Okay, so as this is for 2 people, I'm going to use half a bag of this rice. I've put the kettle on boil. So what I'm going to need to do to get the rice nice and fluffy is, as in my previous video, is to give it a really good rinsing out and get rid of all the starch from off that rice. So we'll give it a good rinsing. I've cleaned up and everything's been put away and tidied up. So all I've got to do now is do the rice, the naan bread, and then plate up and sit down and enjoy it. So I'm going to give this a really good rinsing under the cold water tap and get out as much of that starch as we can. Stop the rice from sticking together and becoming stodgy. So that's had a really good rinsing. So pretty much all the starch has been washed out of that. So I'm now going to put that into a pan of boiling water. I've boiled the kettle, I'm going to add it to the pan, put it on, turn it on, get it to boiling, and that's going to go straight into the boiling water. As soon as it goes into the boiling water, instantly start stirring it because it will stick to the bottom of the pan. So the boiling water from the kettle goes straight into the pan, put it on high heat, full heat, about 3/4 of a pan of water. And then I'm going to add the rice into there, but as soon as it touches the pan, it's going to start sticking to the bottom, so you want to stir it straight away. Okay? So we're going to cook that for about 8 minutes or so. Just test it after about 8 minutes. We don't want it overcooking and stodgy. Just check the packaging on the rice, it should tell you on there how long it's going to cook for. So I'm going to set this clock for about 8 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to heat up the grill because we're going to be using that to cook the garlic naan bread. I've turned off the curry just to let it cool, just until the rice cooks. Then I'll be reheating the curry and dishing out. So the next thing I want to do is to preheat the grill. You want it on high heat, middle shelf. What you need to do is your poppadoms, you wet them on both sides and then put them under the grill and you let them cook for about 2 minutes or so on each side. You don't want to go in brown or hard, so keep your eye on them, you want them soft and moist. So I've got them opened ready. About 2 minutes before the rice is done, I shall put them under the grill. Just wet them on both sides. That keeps them moist. Keep this stirring because you don't want it sticking to the pan. And in the meantime, you want to fill your kettle up with boiling water because you want to rinse that when it's finished. Rinse it through the sieve with some boiling water. Okay, so I'm going to just test this now just to see how it's doing. That's close. So it's time to get the naan breads on. I'm going to put the curry back onto a low heat. I've got the grill on high setting. I'm just going to wet both sides of these naan breads under the cold tap. Once I've wet them, I'm going to place them onto the grill pan, and I'm going to cook them under the grill until they come nice and soft and moist. That's everything on the way. I'm going to turn the kettle on to get the water boiling to rinse the rice. Okay, so I've tested the rice one more time. I'm happy with it now, it's ready to come out. So I'm going to start by pouring it into the sieve. And when the kettle's boiled in a minute or so, I'm going to be rinsing that through a couple of times to make sure we get rid of all the starch and make sure it doesn't stick together. The curry's on its way, starting to warm back up again. The naan breads are on the way, so we should be dishing out in a couple of minutes' time. So what I shall do now is I shall run this boiling water through the rice a couple of times. Give it a good fluffing up. I'm going to take the naan breads off the grill because they'll be pretty much ready. I don't want to do too much overdone. So fluff up the rice, pour some more boiling water through it, and that's your rice all fluffed up. So that's looking good. Okay, now it's time to dish out. So the naan breads will be ready. I'm going to get them out now. I'll put them on this plate. That's the naan breads. And there you have my chicken tikka masala with fluffy rice, basmati rice. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please click on like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for some more of my tasty recipes. All it remains for me to do now is sit down and get stuck in.